Hey everybody, AutisticAles. So I figured I'd make a YouTube channel. I've been talking with a couple people and they're like, you should really make a YouTube channel. I think you'd be good at it. And that was some advice that I actually took and listened to and said, why not? I had a friend at the very start before I even got into, becoming a beerfluencer or even creating an account for beer 4 years ago or 5. That said, you should really start writing, I think you'd really like it. So I've kind of listened to my gut and, put some credit to the people that think that they, know me well enough that I should try something. So yeah, here I am making a YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm going to be chatting more about beer and that's what I love. But I figured I'd make a first introductory video, get to know you, if you will. And just kind of talk about my beer journey and where it started and where it ended up. People that don't know me very well, I was born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I am Canadian, so sure there's a lot of Canadian and American beer friends on here. But yeah, so that's where I was born and raised. Later in my life, it wasn't a city that I was very fond of or proud to be part of by any means. But if you like Winnipeg, kudos. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of beer experience back then. I probably drank, I don't know, Labatt's Blue on a very, very rare occasion. I remember trying Alexander Keefe's, which ripping a t-shirt of, but they're all right, everyone in Canada kind of knows Keefe's IPA. That's just kind of the thing, and a lot of people argue, is it an IPA? I don't care, and that's not what this video is about. So yeah, that was kind of some of my very early experiences with beer. I would say like the very most memorable craft beer experience though was actually when I was in Manitoba and I tried Bone Shaker IPA by Amsterdam Brewing in Ontario. And I didn't hate it at the time, but I didn't like it either because I was like, it's very bitter. I don't like this. I didn't really know hops or malts or anything, and with that beer, it's got a bitter bite to it from what I remember. I'd really like to try it again actually in the future and just kind of see if I love it more than I did back then. So yeah, those were like really my earliest memories with beer. I then moved to British Columbia, out in the West, and I tried a couple more craft beer options out there from local brewers and breweries around Vancouver Island. So I tried a lager from Red Arrow Brewing out in, I believe, Duncan, BC. I tried Phillips Blue Buck Pale Ale. Phillips is a very popular, well-known brewery for my non-Canadian audience. They've pretty much entered just about every single craft beer provincial market. Blue Buck's a very popular pale ale. And yeah, I liked it. But for me, it was just beer. I couldn't tell the difference between what craft beer was, what macro beer was, and just beer was beer. So I didn't really have much of an opinion on it. There was one beer experience that I did have out there that kind of changed my mood towards beer. And it was more of a different style as well that I wasn't very familiar with at the time. So I tried a beer called Hobgoblin, and it was from a UK brewery called Witchwood, and it was, I think, a ruby ale at the time was what it was called. I think they just call it ruby beer now. But yeah, Hobgoblin was like a very malt forward beer for me at the time, and I was like, what is this? This seems okay. And I remember actually at the time buying like another one of those. So for me, that was definitely like one of the first kind of like leanings towards like, oh, maybe beer's not just bitter. Maybe beer has more complexity. And then after a year and a half, I ended up moving to Nova Scotia. So I have moved around and lived in a lot of different places and cities. So yeah, when I was living in Halifax, I was about maybe 10 or 15 minutes from Garrison Brewing, which is a very popular brewery out there from the 80s. And I tried a lot of different beers from them. I remember sampling beers and not liking certain ones. Definitely, I'm gonna be honest in my videos. As much as I can be. And I remember trying, I think it was their Lucky Punk Sour, and I took one sample of it and I was like, who drinks this stuff? Like, why would you drink sour beer? Jokes on me, I absolutely love it. I'm literally drinking a sour right now. And then I remember trying a spruce beer from them. I was like, this tastes like trees. Like, why do people like this? And then I remember trying other breweries and being like, IPAs are disgusting, and I like IPAs now. But yeah, at the time, my friend recommended to me to, get into like blogging or something. They're like, you have an interest in like food and stuff like that. Maybe, do a food blog thing. And I tried doing that for a little bit, and just like financially and logistically for time and distance, it wasn't a viable thing. And there's a lot of popular accounts in Nova Scotia that were like focused on food, so it was very hard to get into that market. And then I was like, you know what? I like beer. And then I noticed how after like the first couple of posts on my account at the time, that it was starting just to come more and more about beer, like it is for a lot of beer accounts when they're looking back. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to at least go and sample, at least in purchase format, if I can't visit them, one beer from every brewery in Nova Scotia. And while I didn't attempt a success in that, I did, however, try a very vast majority of the breweries out there. There was a couple that I missed, but what can you do? But I have to say, after like 4 years, I got to try a lot of different breweries, and I was very proud of the fact that I was able to connect with a lot of them. I made friends with some people at different breweries, and yeah, I made a lot of friends throughout the beer scene on Instagram through Nova Scotia, which kind of connected me with other provinces, and here we are today. So yeah, it's been a very much a roller coaster experience for my craft beer journey, and just over the couple of years of trying different breweries and beer styles, and learning what I like and what I don't like. Like, I personally love stouts and porters and like malty beers, cascading dark ales, but I do love hazy IPAs, and I love sours, and it's just a beautiful beer scene with so many styles and places that you can just enjoy. And pretty much every city that you go to, there's bound to be a brewery. So that's always a really thing that I look forward to checking out and looking into a bit more about places that I don't know about that well. And I'm really honored to just be part of this beer community that is just accepted me and my autism. There's been so many accounts that I could name, but I'm really good friends with on Instagram, and some of the most kind, wonderful people. Has there been people that aren't as nice and kind and horrible? 100%. But you're going to find that in just about any community or hobby or interest that you have. There's always going to be those people. So I just try to cut that out when I need to, because I don't need toxicity. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying being part of the beer scene in Canada. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what the future holds for this account. I'm looking forward to reviewing more beers in depth. Obviously, it's hopefully going to be newer beers than ones I have reviewed on my account. But what I'm thinking of doing is actually making video reviews, maybe not all the time, but for a good majority of the beers that I post. And obviously just highlight a little bit here and there in the posts on Instagram with a photo. And that might just be what the account kind of goes with. So yeah, that's all I got really for the beer component. Now for like the autism, it's AutisticAles after all. Yeah, I was born and raised in Winnipeg, like I said. From birth, I had autism that I was diagnosed with. It was very much a struggle and a challenge, something I was very embarrassed and ashamed of having, because I didn't fit in with like the quote unquote normies, because I was neurodiverse. And yeah, even in the beer community, I've connected with like so many different people that may not be on the spectrum, but they have different mental health issues. And I'm just honored to get to know and be friends with a lot of them, and just kind of embrace my autism, because like I said, being so embarrassed and ashamed of it for years and trying to like mask and fit in with everybody else, it breaks you down, and it's like you're cutting yourself off, from a part of you. So I'm really proud that through beer and through Instagram and I guess now YouTube, I'm able to kind of be myself a little bit more. I know for a lot of people, they might have assumptions and presumptions as well of what autism is or how autism looks like. I hope I can kind of add to that to show the diversity of what autism is. Like, sure, a lot of people can say, well, your one major interest that shows with autism is beer. but I happen to love a lot of different things. If you can see in the background, I have hockey jerseys. I absolutely love sports and collecting jerseys, and trying to go to live sports games when I'm able to. I love video games and pop culture and cinema and art and, trying different food from different countries and traveling when I'm able to. Obviously, with COVID, that's not really a viability. But hopefully in the future, I'll be able to travel to, like, say, Seattle or Oregon, or even up to Vancouver, even in my own country. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the traveling aspects. I'm looking forward to hopefully showing you that autism's got more than one look, or that, like, it is a spectrum. It's not just here or there. It can be anything, and it can be anybody. So hopefully through this journey of self-discovery and beer, it becomes a really positive and awesome project for me. Cheers, everybody.